Author is funded by the Pacific Northwest Writers Association, supporting writers from pen to publication since 1955. To learn more about the PNWA and their yearly conference, please go to pnwa.org. Hi, this is Bill Kenower of Author Magazine, and today I'm at the Pacific Northwest Writers Association Writers Cottage in Gilman Village in Issaquah, Washington, with Louise Marley, aka Kate Campbell. Louise, welcome to Author.
Thank you very much. Thanks for asking me.
Well, so Louise, I think any conversation with you, I feel like has to begin with all your multi-disciplines. Not only do you write, well, I think of three, because not only do you write about science fiction, write in the world of science fiction, and historical, as Kate Campbell, but you also began as a musician.
Yes.
You began your career, your artistic career, as a singer. You sang opera?
Opera and concert repertoire.
All right, so that's a big step. It's a very unusual step from fiction writing, from music to fiction, but maybe not so
Not so much, because particularly with opera, well, with all of that kind of music, drama is at the heart of all of it. Yeah. And the drama translates beautifully into fiction. I used to joke all the time that if you want to write novels, first you should go sing opera, and then you'll really understand how to build a character.
And so when you sang opera, of course, I did theater, so I understood about getting into character and the drama, of course. And I know that singing is similar to that, in that you were wanting to get into the character. And so that was your first into drama, the narrative arc of the song you're singing?
Right, that was it. It was all about opera, and we do a lot of studying of stagecraft when we study opera. So with theater, it's the same thing. It's like knowing how a scene works.
Yeah.
And the building of tension and the release of tension and building to a climax and all those things. And basing it all in character, at least certainly with opera, that's the way it's meant to be. I don't think all books are quite like that, because thrillers and some other books seem to have a different approach.
Less focus on the character.
Focus on the character, less it's more about plot and less about the depth of the character.
You know, what about that? That's a big topic that always comes up,
I know.
like panels, is the plot or character. What's more, how do you? I mean, to me, I can't see how you separate plot and character in a way. They seem so. But how do you think of it in terms of those two separate elements?
I think plot actually comes from character.
That's
a
how
great
I've
deal.
always.
And if you want something to happen in the plot, you have to prepare your character to make that reasonable, to make that logical for the character. I mean, surprises are great, and characters should surprise the readers occasionally. I don't think they should surprise the writer too much, but they can surprise the reader. And
what usually starts you off? Is it a character, or so these books are set in I'm pointing now to your Kate Campbell books.
Yeah.
These are set in Jazz Age Seattle-ish area.
Early 20s.
Early 20s. Mm-hmm. And obviously you've got to love that time.
Yeah.
You must love that time.
That was what started those books.
I want to go back there and explore.
I was fascinated by that, and fascinated also by, I wanted to write about a woman physician. I've done it once before in a science fictional setting. And I wanted to write about one historically. It was fascinating, just absolutely
so a woman physician in the 20s is a pretty...
There weren't very many.
No, I bet there weren't.
Yeah, there weren't very many, and there was a lot of prejudice against them. And
how do you know when an idea comes to you that it's a sticker? How often do they come floating across your?
Oh, they come all the time.
Yeah.
It's hard to turn them off, actually. If it stays in my mind, you asked earlier what's the inciting incidents that get you to write a book, and it's so many different things. It used to be always an image, like my very first fantasy series is about singers on an ice planet. I had this image in my mind, and it worked out beautifully. It was just an image that was really strong. But of course, it took me 4 years to write the first novel, because I didn't know how to write a novel, so I learned. Sometimes it's a title. Oh. Like you have the child goddess there, and that was just a title. And I actually started it twice, because I didn't know what the title meant yet.
Who's the child goddess?
I know. I love the title.
Right.
And so actually the book I'm working on now started as a title. And then I'm just developing the stories that go behind it. Yeah, it's a great title. It's called Witches in Love.
See, you know what I love about that? I always teach writing is this two questions. What do I want to say, and have I said it? Those are the two questions you're asking and answering. And so writing always feels about asking the right questions. So you get a title, and then the questions begin.
Yeah.
Who's the child?
Right.
What's the God? And on the question, and each question gets a new answer, and each question gets a new answer. Our job is really just to ask the right questions,
right,
as writers.
But I do, the second part of your dictum there, I often worry about, have I actually said it?
We never really know.
No.
But it's critical that we understand that, because it's in you, only you can answer it.
Right.
In other words, only you know if that's what you meant, right?
Right.
The last thing you want to say is, will my agent like this? Will my editor like? Because you don't.
Will the critics like it? That's always a bad one. You just can't. You just can't worry about it. You just can't. Know. It's hard, but
I think that I work with writers of all levels, but and there's all kinds of fear and doubt and uncertainty, and I think it all comes down to what will other people think of it? That hovering around us all the time, because to work you can't think about it.
Right, and it's so nice once you've published a few things and that you've had that validation, that fear recedes a bit. You get to understand.
That recede for you?
Mm-hmm. So then you gain, we could just call it confidence, and confidence is a great thing for an artist, for any artist, to not be too worried about how it's going to be received.
Yeah.
Because as you said, we're the ones that have the answers. We're the ones that know. And I always told my students, if you're going to take critique, then do take critique. But it always has to be filtered through your own perception, your own plan for that work, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it really helps. That fear of failure, at least for me, goes away somewhat. Also, your own inner, what's the word? I don't want to say critic, that's not quite right, but your own inner judge of what's good gets stronger and stronger.
Well, Louise, I've got one more question for you. And what I'd like you to do is finish this sentence for me. You ready?
I guess so.
Okay. If writing has taught me anything, it's taught me what?
I think writing has taught me that all of our creative impulses are worthwhile. Because I started as a singer, and I wanted to sing since I was 5 years old. I mean, I knew that I wanted to sing from the age of 5. And I knew I was born to sing. That was just my thing. And when I started writing, I didn't know if I could really be a writer. But it really turned out that that's legitimate. And I respect, and having had that experience, I respect all forms of art. And that can be cooking, gardening, dancing, playing baseball, all of them. And I really think that creative impulse is in every single person, even my engineer husband, who turns out to be a spectacular gardener and is creating a beautiful new garden. And I think that's the main thing that I've taken away, is that everyone's creative impulses deserve to be nurtured and expressed.